following podcast may contain strong language. Listener discretion is advised.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to Hallmark of Greatness. I'm Joe, and with me as always, putting a big giant snapper in a pan before sailing the seven seas, it's Barney.
The what? Oh, God!
The big snapper!
With a fish like that needs cooking immediately, that one. God.
Don't even take the scales off it, yeah.
I've just wiped that film from memory because it was bloody awful.
Yeah, I mean, it was terrible. Before we get into the main bits of it, if you want to keep up to date with all the Hallmark of Great gossip, you can follow us on Twitter at Hallmark of Great, all one word, or we are on Instagram and Facebook at Hallmark of Greatness. It's June, and you know what that means?
Junemas!
It's half Christmas time. Junemas! So all this month you'll be getting your Christmas Hallmark special to get you into that. As it's the hottest it's been in a while here in Britain. Let's watch films about snow and that.
Yeah, why not?
It's these tend to be the better films, I've noticed.
I
the
like
Christmas
a good
ones.
Christmas film.
And there's also links to other stuff in this week's 2021, A Christmas to Savour, or The Flavour of Christmas, or...
Serving up the holidays.
Yeah, it goes by many
Or
names.
Le Menu de Noël, something like that in French.
The Christmas menu, I'm assuming that translates
Yeah,
as.
sorry, I've got half-term lurgy, so I'm absolutely full of snot. Apologies.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. I'm very, very tired. And all the trees have decided today's the day to fire pollen out. A synopsis for A Christmas to Savour?
No, because we only picked it, yesterday?
Yeah, 2 days ago with that. I mean, on the front of the it's a man and a woman stood behind a kitchen workbench in a red and green jumper.
It screams Christmas!
It does. The actual synopsis, though. Scarlett is a chef and co-owner of a restaurant. This year, her best friend buys her a ticket to a holiday cooking getaway, where Scarlett will relearn festive cooking and maybe find love in a handsome rival chef from the past.
There's a lot wrong with that, isn't there, really?
What, the fact that I hate her?
That's her restaurant's called
I hate her
Scarlett.
fringe.
Her fringe is weird.
I hate it. You know, like when you're watching Nicole Kidman and you can't help but look at her forehead because it doesn't move. Like, I had the same thing with her fringe in this. It was just hypnotic in its terribleness.
And no offence to the lead guy in this, but he is not what I would call handsome. Not Hallmark handsome, anyway.
It's not Hallmark, it's Real One, though, isn't it? Which is like Hallmark
it's basically
adjacent.
the same.
But yeah, Zach Roerig has the face of friend of best man, like friend of main lead.
Funny side
lead.
character.
Yeah. I mean, let's get into it. We open, as we always do, with a screenshot of New York City in the snow.
Yeah, it's not a big screenshot though, because then we dip straight into vintage homemade videos. Complete with Christmas music played on a flute.
Oh, this, right. The music in this film is bizarre to the point of like hurting me, because they're kind of Christmas songs, but played by an insane person. Like it loops strange sections of them round, and yeah.
I don't like Christmas songs on a flute anyway.
What about in Doobly Giuliano or whatever it's called?
That's not a flute, is it? Is that not like a piccolo?
Oh, it might be a guitar, actually. Now I think of it.
Oh, is it one of them epic pipes like on Eurovision?
Flutes, fine. But yes, and we go into Scarlett's, the restaurant, because she's so arrogant, she named it after herself.
But she co-owns it with like her ethnic best friend, so why is it called Scarlett? Shouldn't it be called
Scarlett and Claire's?
Yeah, Scarlett and Claire's. It sounds like a pudding.
It should technically be called Stetson's, but that sounds like a cowboy bar.
Yeah, they walk in. Where's my
hat? Stetson, the most Jewish cowboy that there ever is. And yeah, she's working the pass, but he's doing things that no chef does. Check that risotto.
Don't forget the basil.
Oh, and it just hurts my brain because like that's not how kitchens work at all, in my experience.
Is that not because you watch a lot of Gordon Ramsay?
No, it's because I've worked in kitchens for a long period of time, man, if you remember correctly. And yeah, it's nothing like that. There's way more swearing. There's a lot more like fake bumming. But and her best friend.
But
so
go on.
So she's sending this food out one plate at a time, which is again not how you send tables out.
But that restaurant is not full. I think there's 3 tables on.
Yeah, well, that's part of the problem. But the Lord Mayor's in, or the city councillor, and his wife wants a pudding, but they haven't got it. So she's like, no, we have to do things that are on the menu, otherwise it doesn't pair up properly. And what's the point in any of it? And I'm like, you're a bit sort of control. I get it. Like, it's your dream, but also you've got to be flexible. Anyway, she says she's going to put some pistachio nuts on a strawberry, and that apparently is food. And like Claire's like, oh, you're so great, and walks off. And then after service, they're sitting around, and Claire says basically, we were the talk of the town. We're the talk of the town, but you haven't changed the menu, which you have to do. Because if you're doing seasonal stuff, you have to check, because sometimes you just can't get things. You haven't changed the menu, and we're no longer, the line's no longer around the block. And we've got a meeting with Stetson, who is our investor.
Yeah, I put him down as investor.
But Claire's adamant she wants to do a Christmas menu, despite the fact that the Christmas decorations are up in the restaurant, which makes me think how much time elapses.
Oh, I didn't even notice the Christmas decorations.
Yeah, there was lights up, which could just be
it
part
might
of
just be like that
motif.
mad restaurant in Meet Cute, who just have lights up every year round.
Yeah, possibly, but... and she's like, no, I don't want to do a Christmas menu because I hate Christmas, because my mum and dad were both chefs and we didn't celebrate Christmas. And I was like, put Christmas menu? So she's like, no, I don't want to do it. And then Stetson comes in the next day and he's like, I'm going to pull funding out of here and spend it on a hat factory unless you turn it around somehow. And Claire panics. He goes, we're doing a Christmas menu. And he goes, well, I'm going to phone... what's he called? Wyatt, who is the food critic, and he's going to come and eat it, and that'll save us.
Yeah.
Despite the fact his previous review was called like bogus burgers. There was a little headline that you could read, but I didn't jot it down because it wasn't a full story. That's why we need James for things like that. Yeah. So she's like, okay, we'll do a Christmas menu then. And then she goes to buy some potatoes from a shop that only has a bag of potatoes. One bag in the shop.
Well, she buys some dates and other things as well. She sniffs an apple and some other things, puts them in her bag. And I question this, because she's not even got like a self-scanner or everything. She's just automatically putting them in her bag.
It looks like a farmer's market sort of thing, or like one of those organic places where you take an empty glass bottle and they'll fill it full of orange juice for you sort of thing. Obviously. It's all very, but he
buys all the potatoes.
All a dozen of them that they've got, and she's like, oh, I need them potatoes because I've got to make some kind of potato thing. And he goes, oh, it's me, James, we went to Cordon Bleu together.
It's always Cordon Bleu.
And she's like, oh, I see you're still a prick. And he goes, you can have the potatoes, but you have to sing a song.
And she does it.
Point, I was like, yeah, but did you not notice it was the same tune as the 3.1462779. So it must be that you can use the Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy and like copyright free because it's the only song that any of them know. And she sings this song about spices, but then goes on about sugar for a long time.
Yeah, it's very strange.
And she goes, right, that was dumb, and I hate you. He gives her the potatoes, and then she stomps off. And he goes, I guess I'll pay for the rest of your food as well then?
Yep. Which would be interesting, because how would they know what she's actually got? He could sell it overcharge.
The guy behind the counter does some great...
dates.
Nobody likes them anyway, mate. They've been there since last Christmas. No fucker wants them. They're horrible.
I don't mind a date.
Only Mum eats them.
Oh.
They're horrible. No.
Yeah.
The guy behind the counter does some great shrugging acting, though, as well.
He's no counter actor. Who was that counter actor who was just like, no, you don't want that. You want this. What film was that in? Was that Love Map?
Oh, I think that was Love Map or the Pizza one, possibly. Pizza the Action or whatever it was called.
It wasn't called anything as good as that.
She goes to see Claire in the restaurant. And Claire's like, I've booked you on this cooking retreat called The Flavours of Christmas.
Yeah. But before that, Mum comes round with a present for her and says, you don't need to open it. It's a new sharpener for your knives. Hey, Christmas is
Cheers,
ruined. You've told me.
There's the mystery gone, yeah. And then, there's a lot of kind of emotional heart-to-hearts in this.
Yeah.
She's like, her mum used to have a restaurant but sold it. Her dad's still alive, but we never see him.
No. He's not even got
assuming-
one of them jumpers that we see in Hallmark films.
But she's like, well, I wanted to go and do my own thing. I've been doing this since I was 7. All this stuff. And it's like, all right, we get it. You're supposed to be a very good chef, Scarlett. But they've booked her on this course, and it's in the mountains, in the snow.
Yeah.
And she gets there, and we're introduced to this motley crew of people who are also taking the course.
So we've got
Rosie and her
Rosie and her fella.
husband, Ed. Ed is brilliant because he just goes, hello, constantly.
You've got the mad old witch who just keeps drinking wine and passing on sage advice. What was she called?
I think she was called Mary, whose husband has died, but she cooks food every year now so that her children will visit her. Question mark. And then there's a young engaged couple who are doing this course so that they can cook Christmas dinner for both their families to meet, which seems like a dangerous recipe. Like, do it in a Pizza Hut, because you can abandon it then, like, if it goes wrong. If they're in your house, it's a lot more hard to get rid of people. Put a broom behind the door.
Yeah. I don't know what she's called, but he's called Bryce.
I couldn't tell you. Gloria?
Oh, Rosie
Gloria.
Rosie and husband are doing it because what did she say? The kids told her to stop cooking because they were like basically bored of it. Which I was like, that's a bit sad.
I know that feeling. Be grateful you're getting fed. And then it turns out that the host of this staying in a hotel for a week, but also cooking every day in the.
He has a whole itinerary because he crosses off a whole day later on.
Yeah, is James, and she's like, "Oh, this prick." And he's like, "Right, we're gonna show you. We're gonna show you how to find your festive spirit through food." And I was like, "Okay." And at no point do they do like a joint of meat or turkey or anything. It's a lot of cookies. So it's a lot of sweet stuff.
And also, if they want to learn new recipes, they're not learning anything new. Even if they were doing a turkey or whatever, it would be the same thing. That's not what they're planned to do. Considering it's a beginner's course. I mean, you wouldn't send mum. I mean, maybe not mum, but you wouldn't send her on a beginner's course because she can cook. I imagine a beginner's course can't boil an egg type thing.
Well, as we find out later, they can't chop a potato.
So what has she been serving for years and years and years? Just whole potatoes.
Pot noodle and little baby potatoes from an ice cream van.
Oh, man. We're going berry market on Friday. I'm very excited.
He's not there anymore.
No, but just to buy cheese.
Oh.
Etta's going to be very happy.
We're going. We're going Friday. What time are you going?
After the cinema. 2:30.
Oh, we might meet you there, because we're going to get stuff for barbecue. Carnival day.
Yeah. No, Etta's very excited because she wants to go to the cheese stall. It's all she's ever wanted to do in life.
It's an expensive game. Got katsuris as well. Get some olives and that. Anyway, Joe and Barney's shopping list. And so like day one, they're like, this is how you chop a potato. And like Rosie's like hitting it with the handle, like she doesn't know what she's doing.
No, so Scarlett gives her a bigger knife.
Gives her a bigger knife, and he's like, use this one, and she is teaching her proper knife technique, to be fair. But James is like, no, do it this way because it's safer. And then Rosie is so happy that she's managed to slice a potato. I was like, it's the little things in it, really, I guess. And then they're like, right, now we're going to make marshmallow meringue snowmen.
Oh, that look
show you
absolutely revolting. They look all
hate
wilted
meringue at the best of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not eating one of them. And she were doing her meringue.
At the best of times.
Her meringue wasn't even in stiff peaks and she was ladling that shit out. That's not going to do anything.
Mate.
We've seen that on Bake Off.
Don't mess with Scarlett. She's better than you and she knows it.
I could whip a stiffer peak than her, though.
She didn't clean her bowls out with lemon first. That's why there's grease in there. That's what it is. And she's like, oh, I'm doing this because she's trying to take his recipes and twist them to make it high-end European food, whatever that means.
I'm not a clue.
kebab. Oh, Christmas kebab. I'd be into that. But
what, a doner
like,
kebab with a bit of
this-
cinnamon on it?
no, we like some cranberry sauce on it, innit? And,
Nobody likes cranberry sauce.
no, like some brie in there. That's what they always put on shit at Christmas, isn't it? And anyway, there's like they're sort of like, oh, I hate you, but aren't we like sort of good together? She's helping give lessons to people, but she's paid, which I'd want a discount or some money back because this ain't right. And then like her mum phones her. And he's like, oh, how's it going? And all this stuff. What's she called? Is it Jackie, the mad woman? Like, has a heart-to-heart with her about her husband dying and it being...
She's always drinking and she's always giving a heart-to-heart. That's what she's doing.
Like, everyone at this thing, it should say, like, Christmas cooking and emotional trauma solved. Because everyone's got problems at this thing.
Yeah.
Claire phones her and she's like, "Oh, I'm going to a special store in the town to buy things."
A rare store.
Rare store, and I was like, "It's not in Zelda."
Also, her phone
like,
when it rings, it sounds like, do you know the old Sony Ericsson ringtones? That's what it sounds like. Like it's proper vintage.
Oh, we get some nice text on screen as well, like Hollyoaks.
Stupid emojis, yeah.
I didn't understand why they were doing emojis. I was like, it's 2021. You shouldn't be doing that
it's
now.
Older generation use emojis, apparently. Millennials, so I use emojis, whereas Gen Z don't use emojis.
They all laugh at you for being old.
That's what I've learnt from Married at First Sight.
Well, fair enough. Some good came out of watching that then. But Claire's like, oh, you've mentioned James a lot. You love him. And she's like, no, I don't, but I do secretly. Anyway, I'm off to the secret shop. And she goes in, she's like, have you any rare cookbooks? And she goes, no. Why would we? We're in a tourist town. Like, we've got... And she's like, oh, what are books about self-help? And again, the woman's like, what do you think this is?
She's got a sliding spectrum. Cookbooks or self-help. That's it.
And she goes, they're over, the cookbooks we've got are over there by the ornaments. I was like, this is like tea-based services. Just no order to anything.
Did Harvey tell you we went into a place like tea-based services?
No.
And I said, oh, it's like tea-based services.
Hallmark of Greatness is brought to you by tea-based services. Yeah, but she's like, so they're sort of starting to get on. They're like, oh, we're going to make gingerbread now. And she's like, oh, I've made gingerbread tiramisu, which again, like, kind of sounds nice, to be fair.
Yes.
But she goes, oh, well, try it. And they all eat it, and then they all kind of go, that's nice. And then James gives them a look. And they're like, but I prefer the biscuits. And I was like, you can't fail you. There's not a degree. You don't get a certificate at the end of it saying, I am good at Christmas.
But when they were designing the gingerbreads, Ed's design was like a gingerbread man.
He drew a cock,
a pickle. Like, that's not allowed. But Scarlett was really obnoxious and she drew a hotel in Switzerland where she'd had the best gingerbread of her life, a ship in a bottle, no explanation needed, and a confectionery oven.
Standard.
And I was like, what a dick.
Standard things that, no, you wouldn't, would you? Like, I guess the ship in the bottle could work, but...
That well-known Christmas ornament.
It's gingerbread. Like, oh, there's a point, though. Do you like snappy gingerbread or soft gingerbread?
Soft gingerbread. But I overcook it and it's always snappy anyway.
That's the best kind.
In my oven. But you do a gingerbread man, you draw a cock and balls on it and you eat it. And that's what you do.
Yeah. His gumdrop bollocks. Yeah. But yeah, he's like, why have you done that? And she said, oh, it's things that I think we should do. And I'm like, get over yourself. Like, and he's like, can I have a word with you outside? We're going to make maple syrup lollipops outside.
If we had a Christmas bingo sheet, this would be on it now. Maple syrup would be on there,
to be fair. Because we have seen this before in a very old one. And like, she's like, oh, well, you need to like be more adventurous. And he's like, you need to follow instructions because that's what chefs do. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is terrible. This is absolute terrible nonsense. And then the next day, isn't it? He abandons all lessons and they just go and fuck about in the snow.
Yeah. They go and do sledging and just fucking about in the snow, basically.
Snow angels.
But she keeps spelling out magic as well. It took me a while to gather what she was spelling out. But she keeps
this was her.
Magic.
This is her catchphrase. cooking isn't A to B. You have to find the MAGIC. And I was like, it's clunky, innit? Like, as a catchphrase.
Yeah.
It ain't no, like, nice to see you nice, is it?
If the ring don't fit, don't get
Greg
married, you know.
Greg Wallace's "How many?" that he does on Inside the Factory.
I can't cope with Greg
Factory
Wallace because I
Greg.
feel like his fontanelle still hasn't like fully formed.
Oh, if you watch him chew,
Yeah,
like
it's
an
got
alien
that thing on
his
top of
head.
it, isn't it? That's what I said about the fontanelle. That's it.
Yeah. And then she's like, "Oh, I'm starting to get Christmas now. I've got 2 entrees and a dessert done. I just need one more." And they have this big heart-to-heart. The fucking thingy guy phones her, the critic, and he's like, "Oh, how you doing? I look forward to coming and eating your food." And she's like, "Okay, bye."
Yeah, it's a bit unnecessary.
It's so strange. But then later on, like, James admits that he used to be a chef, but his restaurant collapsed in on itself. And so he took up teaching, and he enjoys it because he just wants to get to these kids and teach them stuff.
Yeah.
But he seems to be like, is it Jackie? Oh, the wine drinking woman comes back every year, which is weird because like it's the same stuff every year, isn't it?
She must be killer at cookies, gingerbread.
Was that when we went to Greece and there was that family who did the tour and it was like the 4th year they'd been back and done the same tour? I'm like, not much has changed. It's Greece, like, you know what I mean? But whatever, you know, it's your money, spend it how you want. And so, like, she's, I've made these shortbread peanut butter cake. And I was like, that's too much stuff, that, isn't it?
Well, shortbread's claggy enough as it is without peanut butter being in it. I mean, I love shortbread.
But she made it into a cake. Somehow.
The driest cake in all the land.
And he's like, this is the best thing I've ever tasted. And then we get into this thing of, like, her being she thinks she's a disappointment to her mum, but... And it's like, I don't care. Like, her mum isn't really a character in this at all. But she's like, they had a restaurant and then they sold it and I went away to carve my own path, sort of thing. And he's like, okay.
No, so she doesn't like Christmas because they never spent Christmas together. But when you look back, they used to cook things at Christmas. And it was grandmother's recipe, so it was her cookie recipe, it was her shortbread. Mum would add something and she'd add something. So over time, it was this family recipe. She wanted to make something of herself, so she opened her own restaurant. So Mum thought, well, sod her, I might as well sell our restaurants because she's got her own. So that was the family trauma around Christmas. James's trauma was around his restaurant failing, and because she offers him the head chef job that the critic has offered.
Well, yeah, the critic phones her up and says, I'm opening a restaurant, and would you want to be the head chef there? And she says, no, Scarlett is where I live.
Because my name is Scarlett.
But, yeah, it'd be weird otherwise. But she says, do you want to come and, like, critique the final day's cooking?
Which is quite a nice thing to do, yeah.
Yeah, but, like, he could have gone and gone, this is horrible. What's this? Why is there all pubes in it and that? But he
Why are these potatoes whole?
Why? Why is it just full of blood? And James has got a face like a slapped ass, and she keeps going and smiling at him, and he's like, But Wyatt is very complimentary to everyone, and I think you would have to. And then James is like, why did you bring him here? Like, that could have been terrible. And she goes like, yeah, but it's going to help you in the long run because he's going to go and tell people, and he's like, no. He's just like, he just doesn't want to be helped. Which is fine, because he was doing fine for himself. Yeah, he was happy.
She's adamant that he doesn't need to live in the mountains. And he's like, he might like to live in the mountains.
Yeah.
Leave him alone.
You can't hide here forever. And I'm like, I'd rather live here. It's lovely.
I can make maple syrup lollies whenever I want.
All day long. Sell them down the ski lift. But yeah, she's very adamant that everyone has to do what she wants because that's what makes her happy. Even though she doesn't seem very happy.
Well, she's a miserable cowbag.
I don't know.
Well, she can't even go shopping for an ornament for a tree. That blows her mind.
Oh, yeah, because James is like, I haven't put enough shit on this tree. We need to go and buy some more shit. And then Jackie Wine is like, my dead husband used to hide acorns, so I put acorns on the tree now. And I'm like, where is this going? It's such a weird film that everyone's just big trauma dumping on everyone else.
Group therapy session that they just filmed in.
Possibly, yeah. And eat this gingerbread man as well. Okay, look, you know. It was very, very, very strange.
Because Bryce has a heart-to-heart later on as well.
Yeah, well, Bryce is like, I'm not sure about this because it's a lot to do. And I'm like, I'm with you, Bryce. Like, again, do it in a KFC. But then they're like, yeah, but she's a lovely girl and you'll be fine. And he's like, thanks. That was close. For a second there, I thought Bryce was going to go on a shooting rampage. But he doesn't. But James is like, get out of here. I don't want to go to New York and I don't want to work in a restaurant. I'm happy doing this, you slag.
Yep, so she
goes back.
Yep.
She goes back, and I'm assuming, like, there is not a long time to Christmas now, because everyone's got decorations up. Next to the oven in their kitchen, they've got stockings hung up, which you can't do.
That's not safe.
No, it's not. Right next to an open pizza oven. No. But whatever. But they've got this Christmas menu now, and they're going to run that. Stetson and Wyatt come into the kitchen, and are like, we're going to eat your Christmas meal. I'm like, okay, you could have just shown the meat in it, but whatever.
Scarlett rightly says, she goes, why are they in my kitchen?
Why are they in the kitchen? Oh, Scarlett's mum's shown up.
Oh, yeah, and they do the whole, whee, we've mended our trauma.
Yeah. But Scarlett's mum, when she first arrives, is wearing black chef's whites, but then when they're cooking, she changes into white whites, which I'm assuming is symbolic. Or lazy editing. Oh, but yeah, she's like, you didn't want to take over the restaurant, so we sold it, and that's fine. We're very proud of you, all this stuff. Well, maybe not your father, but whatever. So they help each other cooking. It's the best meal Stetson's ever had this week. And they go, we're going to run this now until Christmas. I'm like, what, 2 days at most? And the lines are they're booked for the next 3 months. I'm like, who's want to eat Christmas stuff in February?
I don't even want a roast dinner in January, so imagine.
I don't want roast dinner ever. But like, it's one of those things you have to put up with, isn't it? Is Christmas dinner. And then as they're drinking again, which they're chefs, so she gets a phone call, and James is outside. And he goes, I'm sorry. Like, I know you know what's best for me, because I am a simple man, and you are Scarlett. And then she goes, and flies off into the sun.
No, I've literally got one sentence after this, and that's that.
And then they do a kiss, and it ends.
No, he has a cookbook.
Oh, yeah.
That's his big. He doesn't want to work in a restaurant, but here's his big step into the big wide world. He's got a cookbook. And her mum. Yeah,
that was it.
Her mum gifts him with the cookbook. Here you go. Here's your own recipe.
At least it's not a knife sharpener, I guess. Yeah, thanks. It's so weird. And then, it just kind of ends. And it was a bit kind of, that was certainly a film.
It was funny.
It wasn't terrible.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't terrible, but I couldn't get behind it because she was incredibly obnoxious all the way through it.
Yeah, and the fringe.
And I think the fringe did it for me. But I think what they, like, people construe as being, like, strong-willed and hard-headed comes across as, I'd never get tired of kicking you in the face in this. Like, she just annoyed me. But it's a Christmas film, so you give them a bit of leeway. You score?
2 gingerbread bollocks.
Oh, 2 gingerbread bollocks. I'm going to go with 4 bronze snowmen.
Oh, you should have had melted meringue snowmen.
Yeah, that's what I meant. So they look a bit like Todd's. But yeah.
It was a film. We watched it. It was great. Well, it wasn't good.
It's a Christmas film. It's not the worst one I've ever seen.
So, the director of this one was Jessica Harmon. She is most famous for being an actor in The 100 and iZombie.
Oh, I like The 100.
I started watching The 100 and then I read it and I thought, oh, the book's much better. And then I stopped watching it.
I know it didn't finish because it got cancelled. But yeah, it was a good idea. It was a good premise. But yeah.
But there's so much
Harvey watches iZombie. But
post-apocalyptic stuff on now anyway, isn't there?
Every other week.
Finally watched The Last of Us.
Guys in Italy on motorbikes. Yeah. Last of Us is cool.
Scarlett is played by Britt Irvins. There was nothing noteworthy about her at all.
She not on handsomefringes.com?
No, nothing noteworthy. James was played by Zach Roerig, which you said before. He most famously played Matt Donovan in The Vampire Diaries.
Never
seen it, but I imagine that
okay.
That. 2 fun facts about him. He wears glasses when not on camera. And he used to work with his...
Does he think not wearing?
What?
Does he think not wearing them makes him look better?
Sexy.
Or has he got like big Coke bottle glasses?
It's like Superman when he's on camera, when he's off.
Yeah, no. Go on, and the other one.
He used to work with his dad and granddad making gravestones.
All right. Do you dig graves?
No, just make the stones.
All right. It's a lot of money, isn't there? Oh, shush. Yeah.
Well, there is, because it's like £50 per letter, isn't it?
Yeah, it's expensive. I told you when we went to Scotland for Thingy's funeral, the guy in that couple of graves down, it had like, here lies James McDonald, Jimmy Apples. Just on his grave, it just had Jimmy Apples carved in. It's like 50 quid a letter, just put Jim Apple.
Just put Jim.
Just don't put Jimmy Apples, because it was just strange. But now I kind of want to know more about Jimmy Apples. Right.
Who is...
But I couldn't find anything. Who is he? Why was he called that?
Claire, ethnic best friend, was played by Bethany Brown. And she won Best Supporting Actress in the Paris Short Film Festival in 2020.
For this?
No.
Not
in this. Interesting facts about her was she played professional soccer until 17 when she injured her foot and it ended her career.
Oh, Bethany Brown. You could have been part of the American football team for women.
Soccer.
With that other one. Soccer. The one from Bend It Like Beckham.
I do like Bend It Like Beckham.
I don't know.
I know you like Bend It Like Beckham.
Yeah.
I also Googled Rosie because she was very familiar to me. Played by BJ Harrison. And I was right, she's in a lot of these types of films. She is Stella in Marrying Mr. Darcy.
Ah, yes. Yeah. That the dog show one, weren't it?
Yeah, and the one, also how else she was familiar to me, she's in Maid on Netflix, which is that series about that homeless woman.
Okay.
She's most famous, though, for her role in Rise of the Planet of the Apes and The Tooth Fairy. And she also comforts a small child in the film 2012.
Oh,
so she's got a few little bits.
That's good she's getting work.
Yeah. But I thought she's very familiar looking.
She's alright in this. Yeah, it must be one of those things when you need like a wise woman to espouse.
She's not the wisest woman though, because that's
Harrison.
Whatever we've named her, Jackie with the wine.
That's more trauma. Like Rosie and Ed have been married 28 years.
And she still can't chop a potato.
So, what do they eat?
Mash.
Yeah, it's the easiest option, isn't it? Chips. Get chippy. Two reviews for this. 1 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
1 out of 10. So we shall start with the 10 out of 10 because Easy Christmas Watching by W Buglio 10. I mean, for a simple holiday movie, it's great. The scenery is beautiful with all the cityscapes, and the storyline was perfect for this type of movie. Doesn't mean anything. The camera work and editing was clean. The acting was acceptable. Props were there. I've added that in. I liked the main character. The chemistry between the main characters was pretty believable. I liked the focus on living in the moment and not all the heavy weight pulling down the easy breezy feeling of the film. I don't think this is watch the same film.
I think Boogaloo.
What
else?
What do you expect in this genre? If you are looking for a simple, fun rom-com with food, then this is your flick. If you want a complex drama, go somewhere else. I'd say a better rom-com was the food truck one.
That food truck one was brilliant.
Better than this. That was way better than this. In hindsight, we need to go back and critically reevaluate some of these stuff again, because some of the dreck we've had to watch recently.
The Nutcracker one with Sabrina was ace as well.
Ah, you see, yeah. See? You don't realise what you've got till it's buried under mounds of trash. 1 out of 10. Horrendous.
Oh,
by
brutal.
Tom Bonsell 23. This film is so profoundly bad, I had to start an account entirely to write this. I mean, I would have just let it go, Tom, but whatevs.
I spoke about it on a podcast.
I mean, I said some positives. The acting is laughably bad, the storyline horrendous, and the attempts at characterization juvenile.
Oh.
Spelt wrong. I had the mispleasure of having this play while I changed in a Liverpool hotel room, and I nearly requested a refund on my entire room from the strength of how badly it stunk the place out. I just unnecessary details in there, Tom, isn't there? Unnecessary. It's fine. It's a Channel 5 film.
Fine, yeah.
It's one of those ones that's on in the afternoon. You put it on, you fall asleep, you wake up. You're not sure if it's the same film or not. But it don't matter.
All
They're
you
all
know
the same.
is if her fringe has grown back, it's a different film.
They could have shot, that could be good. As time progresses, her fringe got longer and longer until she was like, is it Sia? The singing lady? That'd have been good. Yeah. But yeah, other than that, like, it's on Prime. It's 89 minutes of your day. It's not terrible.
I mean, I was doing
There's
the
a song
ironing
about
to it,
spices.
and it was fine.
Cumin and parsley and sage and of sugar is brown sometimes. It was just weird. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was 2021's A Christmas to Savour, Le Menu au Noël, maple syrup in the mountains. I don't know. I was going to say your favourite line from the film, but
I don't think we have any memorable line.
I've drawn a gherkin.
He does not say that.
I'm going to imagine that he did. Ed only does big acting.
Here is my
Say goodbye.
Goodbye. It was on the maple syrup farm.